Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video about how I lost my mother. I'm Tanea Wade. This video is simply because I don't want anyone to um, think or feel, well, for one, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. And for two, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for my mother, nor do I want you guys to be under the assumption that she just mistreated me or that she abused me or anything like that, because she did not. And my mom is deceased, and I definitely don't want to slander my mother or our relationship, and she's not here to defend herself. So I feel it's only fair to show her some respect to that regard. I will be honest about everything, and there will be some things that I'll discuss that are very personal that did happen. However, the ending relationship between my mother and I, it was very good. We were able to settle our differences, I believe, and to move on with our lives. So anyways, the death of my mother, it was definitely sudden. It was traumatic for me. It was very unexpected. And I believe till this day I may still be dealing with her death. Again, like I said, it was very unexpected, and I'll explain more to you why I say that. I mean, nobody's death is expected for the most part unless you've been diagnosed with an illness or something and been given an amount of time to live. But this was very different. Um. So, anyways, my mother, she passed away in a hospital. Um. One day, I was waiting for her phone call to pick her up from the hospital, and I got a call basically from my cousin stating that my mother had died. While I was sitting there waiting on my mom to call me so that I can come and get her, I got a call saying that she passed away, and I didn't know what to do. I think I went into a shock, so I actually hung the phone up. And I didn't know what to do. I just cried and cried, and I couldn't believe that this had happened to my mom. And I say this because I was used to not talking to my mother for months. 2, 3, 4 months would go by, sometimes more than that, before I would even hear from her. But if there was ever a situation where I needed to speak to her or get in touch with her, I was always able to contact one of her friends, and my mom, she'd call me right away, and so that was never a problem, and that was just the relationship that her and I had. We were distant from one another, and not to mention my mom, again, she was very sickly, so she stayed in and out of the hospital. So to me, this time it was no different. Okay, she's in the hospital, she'll be out, in a few days like she normally is. However, the day before she passed away, her and I had a conversation on the phone. Basically, I was letting her know, that once she got out of the hospital, I was going to save up enough money and send her to go and live with her mom. And that made her so happy. Like, I could hear the joy in my mother's voice, how happy that made her. And it made me happy too. And I made myself feel obligated to make sure I had this money and to live up to this promise that I just made my mom, because I had never heard her voice sound like that before. And you would have really had to know her and to have been on that phone to understand what I'm talking about. But there was definitely a change in her voice. It was like she felt relieved. So, anyways, um, we agreed that she was gonna go stay with her mom, and she did tell me she hadn't saw her mom in a while, and she really wanted to see her. And by the way, my granny's passed away too by now, so hopefully my mom and my grandmother are up there having the time of their life. So, anyways, I really should not have been sitting on the bed waiting on her phone call. I was at work earlier that day, and I kept getting a phone call from the hospital. And in my mind, it was my mom calling me. I mean, that's what I thought, because that's who was at the hospital. It was her. So I wouldn't answer the phone. I was at work. I had just started a new job, and I didn't want to get into any trouble. The phone calls did not stop. Even on my lunch break, all it would have probably taken me was a couple of minutes to return that phone call, and I didn't. I never returned the call. Never did I return the call. I was supposed to leave work and go straight to the hospital to pick my mom up. But instead, I left work and I went home. And I went home because I was dating this guy and he and I had been getting into it. We had been having arguments, and the reason was because 2 days before that I gotten an abortion. And nobody knows until I release this video that I got an abortion. I believe I was age 22, maybe 23. So I was in pain and I needed to go home. But so the guy and I, we were getting into it. I went home, sat on the bed, and that's just kind of what happened. And those were the facts that led up to when I got the phone call that my mom had passed away. And again, like I said, I was in disbelief, and for a while, I went about believing that I was being punished for having an abortion and that God took my mother away from me. Although now I know that that's not true. For many years, I actually carried that in my heart. I felt guilty for what I did, and I still feel bad for what I did. However, I felt like God was getting his revenge on me. Since I took, a child of his, he took my mom away from me. I never stopped going to work after that. I returned to work the next day, trying to put it out of my mind, and I literally pretended that she was still alive. And that went on for quite a while too. Like I said, since I was so used to her, you know, being gone for 2, 3, 4, maybe more months at a time, I pretended like this was another one of those times that she didn't really die. Like this isn't really happening. Like she's gone off on one of her little, missions or whatever, and I'll hear from her in a few months. And months went by, and months went by, and months went by, and I didn't hear from her. In my mother's funeral, she had her natural hair because she was natural. She didn't have on one of the wigs that she normally wears, and her hair, it was so pretty. She had this gray streak of hair, um, and she had a fro, and she just looked really peaceful. And she was dressed really nice. She had on a nice dress. She had on a nice outfit and everything. And we put her favorite perfume in her casket because she loved perfume, and I think that's where I get my perfume whatever from, because I like scents. And so we put some perfume in her casket, and I still have lotion that my mom used to come to my house and use all the time. I still have it. That was like her favorite. Every time she would come, it would always be in the same spot, and she would just use just enough for her hands. She was a pretty small lady. But anyways, I just wanted to share this video with you all so that you can understand that my mom, she did the best that she could. I'm going to share some story with you all that I feel like you may lean toward the judging side, and so I want to stop that now before it starts, because that's not fair. And what I can say is, the last time I saw my mom, she looked at me, and this was never different from any other time. And she would always say, "Tanea, you are so pretty." Like she would tell me this all the time. "Tanea, you are so pretty." And I would just look at her, and I would just smile with my little shy self, and just blush or whatever. But I knew that my mother was proud of me. She was always bragging about me to everybody whenever she could, whenever she got the opportunity to. She was always telling people about me. And like when I would meet her friends, all they would say is, "Oh, your mom's told me so much about you, and you're even prettier than she said, and you're so beautiful," and blah blah blah. And then they would tell me how my mother used to look like how we used to look just alike until she turned to the drugs or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. Nobody is perfect. I love my mom. I have forgiven her. I'll post another video about the ritual I did for letting it go, and just what happened, what my experience was after I did my ritual. How she actually came to me in a dream. Um, but I also want to say this, because this video I know is to help people, and I know there's someone who is probably currently going through the same thing I'm going through or has. And forgiveness is very important. You have to learn how to forgive. And sometimes just putting yourself in another person's situation can help you. Because after my mother passed away, I learned that she was done just as bad by her mom as I was by her. So it was kind of like a cycle from her mom to her and then to me. But I feel like, my mother introduced me to God, and I'm very thankful for that. And that's something that can never be taken away from me. And that's something, what she did has gotten me to become the woman that I am today, by her introducing me to the Lord and telling me to pray and teaching me how to pray. That is priceless. It's more than her buying me anything, or even though she couldn't be there, at least she trusted God enough to know that He will watch me, and she taught me how to trust Him, to know that He will watch me, and He's here with me now. So anyways, just learn how to forgive, and learn how to understand and accept people for how they are, for who they are. If you don't understand someone, try to get to know them. Because if I don't bear your burdens, then I can't help you, right? So if I don't know what's going on with you, how can I help you or understand you? And I feel like that's what a lot of us do these days. We don't understand people. We don't understand one another. So we don't help them. And not just that, but it's like we judge them, basically. We judge people, and we shouldn't do so. So hopefully this video has helped someone. Parents do wrong to their children. It starts with the parents. So if your parents have done something wrong to you, or if you have something to say to your parents, say it. If they're still alive, say it. If they're not, write them a letter. Bury the letter. Go to their grave. I went to my mom's grave a lot, and I would just sit there and cry, because I missed her, and I thought about all the things that I wanted to say to her that I was not able to say. I just wanted to hug her for one last time. My mom, I felt like she at first, before my dad passed away, she was buried in the cemetery alone, and that bothered me, that she was alone again. She was already alone, alive. Now she's alone, dead. But my dad, he's in the cemetery with her now, so I don't feel like she's alone anymore. But that bothered me for a while. And the point is, just love people for who they are. Learn how to forgive and pray for people. Nobody is perfect. Like, I've yet to meet a perfect person. We are all hurting. However, we can still help one another at the same time. And don't be so quick to judge. Like, give a person a chance. Maybe there's someone who does want to talk to you or open up to you, but they can't because they're afraid of what you're going to say about them or think about them or do to them. And a lot of us go through that. So anyways, I'm not going to rant. I just wanted to share that, I miss my mom, and I love her, and I wish she was here to see me now, and to see the type of woman I've grown into, and to see her grandchildren. But she won't. She won't. She missed all of that. Do I feel like it's unfair? I feel like it's very unfair. I feel like I was cheated. I feel like I never got a chance to be with my mom. And then when we did start building a relationship, she was taken away from me. And it has been hard. And I pray about it. But life has to go on, because we all have purpose. We all live and we all die. And I know I'll see her again eventually. However, while I'm still here, I'm going to live the best life that I can. And I hope that you all can too. And I love you. If you like this video, please share it and hit the like button. Yeah, share the video. because I'm sure it'll help someone. Even if you don't like it, just share the video anyways. It's okay. Somebody else might like it. Leave your comments below if you have any questions or anything. Just let me know. I appreciate you. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you for watching this video. I love you all. And again, I'm Tanea Wade. I'm your spiritual sister. I am CEO of determinedwoman.com with a dash. Link will be below. And you all have a blessed day. I love you and thank you so much.